So, full disclosure, you may or may not have noticed that there's only two of us, but we're like that. People are running late, it's the Edinburgh Fringe, so I've got Ginny all to myself, which is excellent. I was just saying, feeling slightly overdressed in a glittery jacket now, but you're from New York.
I'm from New York, and I love the glittery jacket.
Oh, thank you very much. Thank you very much.
Not a lot of place in New York.
I noticed you've dressed down somewhat.
I dress the same way every day.
Oh, right.
Just dressing down, yeah.
Is that a control thing?
A little bit, actually, because in my stand-up set, I am a former engineer, and I have jokes about dressing very casually, and so if I, by chance, am not dressed casually, I can't tell those jokes. So it does make things easier, but also I'm quite lazy, so it really
You were an engineer. I thought you were a recovering mess.
I can take multitudes.
That's right. Been there, done that. So I feel I can say that. So you're an engineer. You're a data analyst. You don't look old enough to be all of that.
Thank you so much. I was not, so the type of engineer I was a data scientist. I was on an engineering team. I did like computer programming around statistics.
Okay, I'm losing interest in you now.
No, I understand. I'm bored too. Yeah, and then I quit that when I was like 25, 26.
And was it the kind of, 4 out of 5 pets prefer chum type data analyst, or was it something more important?
It was definitely not more important. It was a little bit larger numbers, although I definitely, like, part of what I had to do at some of the companies was come up with fake statistics like that to put on advertisements. Like
these statistics are fake.
Well, there's a chance they're not, but there's also a chance. Like, for example, one time I was supposed to provide a number on our company's sales, and they didn't like the number I gave of sale increases, so they asked if I could run the same analysis excluding Wednesdays, because for whatever reason, we had sold badly on Wednesdays. And then that number I gave, which said like our sales were up 30%, if you excluded Wednesdays, which I didn't say, ended up in the Wall Street Journal, which was pretty alarming for me. I was worried about being a person who created fake news.
So it's true, there was the saying, there are lies, damn lies, and statistics.
Oh, very much true, yeah.
Wow, so was that why you quit, a kind of moral horror at what you were becoming?
I wish I could say that that's why I quit, but it's really not.
So why did you really quit?
I found it boring. I was bored. And I wanted to have more free time. And I actually didn't really ever formally quit. I quit one job with the intention of getting another, and I just never went back.
Cool. And how long have you been doing the standing up comedy?
About 6 years.
Well, so you're not a beginner. It's your Edinburgh debut, but...
Yes, it's my Edinburgh debut. I started my hour-long show. I started working that out about 1.5 years ago. But it's material that I've been doing for many years.
Wow, so this is really evolving. And so why Edinburgh?
I had been to the Edinburgh Fringe before and loved it, so I really wanted to come perform. And then I also, I wanted a place to do my show every day for a month to just really tighten it and get extremely comfortable with it. But I also I feel like the show is pretty polished. That was my intention, is to have it very tight by the time I got here, and then kind of let it almost like congeal by doing it every single day. Okay,
so Edinburgh's your cooking pot.
Yeah, I think that's fair to say, but assuming the raw ingredients are also edible, if we're going to take that.
Oh, I'm loving it.
Edible and delicious.
But not if you're vegan or lactose intolerant or anything like that. What are the raw ingredients?
Yeah, the hour itself, before I got to Edinburgh, it began with my stand-up comedy material. It is a stand-up hour, and first and foremost, my goal was to make people laugh. So I want the jokes are kind of like the basic building blocks, and they are, my hope is that the jokes land as well as possible. And then the story around them is a really well-suited story, because it's basically the story of my 20s, and it's jokes that I wrote all throughout my 20s, so it is pretty easy to form a story with them, because I'm essentially just telling the story of my 20s via joke, which I was telling.
Which were a disaster?
I mean, a disaster is like a strong word for it, but
I like strong words. Come on.
Okay.
You're from New York.
Yeah.
You live in the city of strong words.
Yeah, I think my 20s were not what I expected them to be, and I thought that I'd be in a very different place by the time I turned 30, but I ended up being happy with where I was, which is in many ways what the show is about. But I didn't, I started off in tech and then moved into comedy, and there's definitely like a huge price differential in terms of how much money I was making in each field, and so that influenced my 20s, I would say, but for the better ultimately.
But this is interesting because, yes, the show is the story of your 20s, and from the sound of you, it sounds like it will be incredibly well told and funny and engaging because you are. But everybody has 20s. My 20s were a disaster area. I mean, I was at university, but I was rampantly, I was a big drinker. So what makes your 20s more interesting than my 20s? And you're going to have to go some.
Well, to be honest, I was a really big drinker. It is in many ways the story of me quitting drinking. That's one of the major threads in it. I quit drinking when I was 28, and
you completely dry?
I'm completely dry. Yeah.
Oh, gosh.
I know. Yeah, it's okay. I'm happy about it, but it was hard at first. It's still hard. But what makes my 20s more interesting? I'm not sure that I would not like bet my life on my 20s being significantly more interesting than anyone else's, and I want the story to be relatable. So okay. I think I'm telling a story through my own specific neuroses, which is that I was obsessed with numbers and obsessed with optimizing every aspect of my life, but I think that they're also very relatable problems in that I had this clear idea of where I wanted to be, and I was very frustrated at not getting there, and I was really taking heed of what society told me I had to be like, and I think that other people they're told different things about what to be. They're trying to get to different places, and they have different things stopping them. But I do think that it's a pretty much universal story that you want things that you won't get, and you have to learn from that. So
people who are coming along will laugh. They will relate. Mm-hmm. Now you will have heard of. I mean, it sounds like you've got plenty material for it. This thing in Edinburgh where we have to have the kind of sincere, meaningful, probably quite sad bit at round about the 40-minute mark to make it a proper show. Do you have a sad bit?
I have a lot of sad bits.
Oh, wonderful. Spoiled for choice.
I try to make them funny, but there were sad things that happened, and it's about struggling with addiction, so that's very sad. It's about losing, having my heart broken, which is very sad. But I wouldn't say it's particularly sad. Again, I would say it's sad in a relatable way. I think that a lot of people struggle with those things, and if it's not a substance addiction, it's an addiction to something else, and heartbreak is so universal. So it definitely has an arc, and it has sad elements, but I do like to think of it as an overall upbeat show. It has dark elements, but first and foremost, my goal is to make the audience laugh, not cry. That is
A pretty good goal for an Edinburgh show, and this is your first time.
First time, yeah.
You excited?
I'm really excited. I'm nervous, but I'm excited.
Where are you on?
Gilded Balloon, Teviot.
Which room?
The Lounge. I had my tech rehearsal last night. Do you know the Lounge?
Yes. Oh, I know them all. I've been here since the castle was built. So wow. Yeah, I know them. I know them all. Okay. And are you going to go and see any other shows?
Oh my gosh, I'm going to go see so many other shows. I want recommendations, and I'll gather them as I go along, but even just walking around seeing all the posters, I'm feeling overwhelmed because I want to see everything. But
you have the whole hugeness mm-hmm. of Edinburgh now. Coming from, I mean, you know New York, you know LA, that probably doesn't faze you as much as if you'd come from, Hicktown, Arkansas, but it's so huge. Do you find that intimidating in any way as one comic with one show in the middle of all of this?
I do find it intimidating. I was very nervous before I got here. I got in last night, and I felt so kind of in love with the energy. Like it felt like freshman orientation of college, like seeing all the posters everywhere. And to be honest, so I'm an American, as you guys probably know.
Really?
You know, the industry is on strike, the writers are on strike, the actors are on strike, and it's such a cool, like it makes me, I can get so down on the entertainment industry and get down on what the streamers are doing and that kind of thing. But like to come here and see all of this like creativity just in the posters, just to see like these creative people from all over the world doing these shows, some of which are incredibly niche, stuff I never would have thought of, independently produced, is so cool. And it definitely like, I've only been here a day, but I feel more optimistic about entertainment in general than I had been for months before. So I'm really excited.
Good grief, how wonderful, how positive.
Yeah.
Well, I'm excited for you.
Yeah.
And I hope, I hope the Fringe is absolutely everything that you hope it will be. It should be. It will be.
I think it will be too. As long as I just go see the stuff I want to see, I don't see what could go wrong. Well, actually, no, I do see a lot of things that could go wrong, but I'm sure a lot of things will also go wrong.
Statistically. Have you done any, stats on this? What's the likelihood of this? And
when I first started doing comedy, I had a spreadsheet where I tracked all of my jokes and I tracked like whether they bombed or did well at different shows. It was not a good strategy. Like, I mean, I was 26, I just started stand-up, but it wasn't like, I threw out material that I should have worked on that I liked because the audience didn't like it like enough times, and it wasn't, I don't do that anymore. I mean, I think through my jokes, I'm analytical, but I don't do any more like tracking.
Wow.
Yeah.
That is extraordinary. That is such a huge, I don't think I can think of any more questions. Welcome to Edinburgh.
Thank you so much. I'm so happy to be here, and thank you for having me.